Do you object to her testifying by Zoom is the question. All right, so I've overruled your objection to her testifying. What? You need to stand when addressing the court.
In a position where my client is substantially assisting in his representation, and so there are certain things that I believe I have to adhere to request. One of them is that he does not want me to.
He does not want you to agree to what? I'm sorry. Okay, that. I understand that you are not agreeing to it. I don't see any prejudice to you all to her testifying. You have her previous trial testimony. Her testimony is she's also more than 100 miles outside the jurisdiction of the court at this point since she's going to be in Mexico. All she's testifying to is a bullet that was removed from Ms. Dixon. State?
That's it, Your Honor. That's all she's testifying.
All right, so the motion to have her testify by Zoom is granted. Don't bring up the 11 shell cases in the guilt phase, okay? Anything else I needed to rule on? Because this is just wandering.
I don't know Dominique Daniels. I'll defer to Mr. Williams on that one since.
All right, who's Dominique Daniels? Remind me.
Ms. Dixon, your younger brother.
Okay.
So it,
The one that, not the one that was shot.
correct,
The one that was inside the house.
correct.
Okay, go ahead.
Based upon the prior understanding, the state's intention was to call Mr. Daniels to say that he encountered, if you recall his trial testimony from the first trial, he encountered Mr. Loyd outside, he heard gunshots, he ran to the door, he saw Mr. Loyd fleeing. We're not going to be committed to do that. I certainly need to know that before I stand up and opening statements. But it is not the brother that was shot. It is the brother that witnessed Mr. Loyd in the yard and then
Right.
flight from the yard.
Well, based on what I'm being told today, that's not going to be brought up by the defense during guilt phase. Is that correct? All right, tell me exactly, so because the state has to know what they can and can't say in closings or in openings. And quite frankly, this has changed several times. I want to know exactly what you are going to say about Miss Dixon's murder in the guilt phase of this trial.
One reason is that there was a gun found in the yard on Tuesdays.
In what yard?
The yard in Shue.
Okay, go ahead. Let me listen to all this.
And then when my client found out that they were publishing reports, and he intentionally went up to the door and shot her and pulled blood, he reached out to his niece, who reached out to Savelli and told them basically that, what's going on with these lies, why are you publishing this? Savelli basically says that he can't control what they do. And so my client, of course, had mentioned that he was willing to turn himself in if they did that, if they corrected the wrong. And when they are not correcting the wrong, my client is reaching a heightened state regarding his belief that the police were killed him. So he believes that this was all done intentionally so the police could kill him. And that's important to the state of mind of my client. As it continues through, and we'll have evidence that occurs before it.
State.
So if I understand it correctly, the defense wants to bring out specifics of what was located at the Long Peak Drive Dixon scene, specifically the gun, and portray that a false narrative was portrayed or was released, but the state is unable to fix that false narrative and unable to bring in the fact that there were 11 shell casings on scene. I mean,
I'm not going to allow that. That's where we're at halt. If you want to argue that a gun belonging to Miss Dixon was found in the yard, and that the police were putting out a false narrative that it was Mr. Loyd who was the aggressor in that, and I'm paraphrasing this, okay? Then the state gets to rebut that in guilt.
We have absolute proof because we have the three
Mr. Lemon, I'm not going to argue whether you have proof or don't have proof, but what you can't do is stand up in openings and say all this stuff with the state being handicapped, unable to respond. So the state can respond to them saying there's a gun in the yard and that it's a false narrative that Mr. Loyd was the aggressor. Okay?
Does that include the state being able to respond that 11 shell casings were found at the scene?
Yes.
Thank you.
That belong to the gun, because that goes directly to the issue of whether the narrative was false or not.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm done with this. All right. Are we done with the motions?
I believe so.
All right, Mr. Loyd, go ahead.
I want to put this on record. What I told my attorney, what I wanted to present from the Dixon case was the lie that was told to the news, that I came over here, bammed on the door, and gunned these people down. That was completely lie. You was the judge in the trial, so you know that's a lie. That was a complete lie. I reached out to my niece and I told my niece that this didn't happen like that. This girl put a gun on me, her brother attacked me. I said, talk to the investigators, which I talked to whoever up pegging. He said during the investigation, during the interrogation, and I told him I would turn myself in if they get the news to retract a lie that they done told the whole world. Why are they lying? They trying to kill me. And they told my niece they are not responsible for what the news played. But come to find out, it's reports that they are responsible for what the news plays. So now, when I find that out, now I know it's the police that's setting me up and trying to kill me. At first, I thought Sade's mom and them removed the gun and stuff off the crime scene that Sade went and got when it got on me. So now I know it's the police that set me up, because if I'm an investigator and I had this alleged murderer telling me he would turn himself in if I retract a lie that the news played and I know it's a lie, I would hold a press conference and retract the lie that had this alleged murderer turn himself in. But they told my niece, which told me they had. But excuse me, I'll get up.
You need to calm down.
No, cause I got to stutter. I stutter anyway in this.
Just calm down and tell me calmly what it is you want to tell me.
So,
Mr. Loyd, you are being allowed to present that to the jury. The
no, but
conversation that we are having is not about you presenting that to the jury, but what the state can say in response to that.
So now, back to what I said. The only thing what I wanted my attorney, what I told them, was the news reported I came over here, bammed on these people's door, and gunned these people down when they answered me. And that's a complete lie. Everyone seen my trial. And the investigator knew it was a lie, but they the ones reported this lie so they can put their framework in play to kill me when they run down on me. And I talked to them through my niece, and I told them, I believe y'all are trying to kill me. Why are y'all lying? What you lying for? They kill us for nothing. They kill us with our hands up. So now you put out this false narrative. So now the public, when you run down on me and kill me, it won't be no uproar in the community, because they done created this monster which never existed. So now I'm telling my niece to tell her I will turn myself in, but they tell my niece they're not responsible for the news play. So now I know it's them that's doing it. So now I send my niece to the news people. I say, go talk to the news people. Talk to them. I'm like, man, y'all got to talk. Somebody got to say something. I send my niece to the news people, and she tell the news people whatever she tell them, and then they have this interview or whatever, and I call them I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? She started crying, and she hysterical. She's like, Uncle Keith, they play what they want to play. They play what they want to play. I'm like, man, fuck it. These crackers trying to kill me. So now I'm laying low. So now I'm out. I'm trying to get my people to talk, but everybody's scared to say anything. I was trying to. Walmart never had to happen. But these are the same investigators. These are the same investigators that were setting my niece up, setting my ex up, setting my family. These are the same ones that say they're not responsible for the news play. These are the same ones that lied to me, and that's why they want to exclude these investigators right here from us from saying anything, because they are a bunch of liars, and it's been proven. In my first trial, It's been proven. They lied on my niece. They lied on my ex. They was lying on me. And they the ones set this lie up. Walmart never had to happen. So they trying to evade it. No, I was trying to turn myself in twice before Walmart. And even after Walmart, the third time, I was turning myself in. These clowns didn't find me. I was turning myself in on the phone call, talking to my people, trying to turn myself in because they were setting my ex up, which has a mental disability, and I know how the system works. They were drag her in these courtrooms and give her a life sentence for something she had nothing to do. And so before I let her do that, I'll die. So I came, and I still, when I was turning myself in, when they came to the house, even when I came to the door, I got low. So now I was telling them to get these other investigators, but they haven't done yet either. When I was turning myself in, when they came to the house, I got low, I got small. So they start opening fire on me.
Calm down, Mr. Loyd. Take a deep breath.
My belief of them not trying to kill me, it didn't go away. But for my people, I die. I don't care. I will die for my people. So I'm not gonna not let my ex or my people come here and do no life sentence for nothing they had nothing to do with. So that's why I came back. For my people, I die about my people. It ain't about, oh, I'm trying to kill cops. That's a fucking lie. But when cops killing us, I speak out. I'm not doing none of that.
All right, I've got it, Mr. Loyd. All right, thank you very much. Everyone has my rulings. I have a reserved ruling on the Facebook motion. What was the other one I reserved on? I made a note.
Use of force.
The rehearing on the use of force. I'll take care of those in chambers. Is there anything else, Mr.?
Mr. Loyd said on the record a few moments ago he wanted to represent himself. It's the state's position that you really need to address that.
Oh, yeah, he did. Thanks. Mr. Loyd, do you, well, first of all, I'm not doing a Nelson hearing because the trial has begun. There's a jury's venire has been sworn. So, Mr. Loyd, do you want to represent yourself? Or you want to keep your lawyers?
Yes, I want to represent myself.
So you want to fire your two lawyers?
No, I want to be first chair, second chair, how I had it for last time. And since Sherry know everything, I got to keep Terry.
Okay. And what is the reason that you want to represent yourself?
Because things are being done and it's not being done right, and my life is on the line. They're just like, even with the situation, and I told them I only want the fact for my mind, it was my mind state that the police was trying to kill me. They reported I came over here to my child's mother house, bammed on the door, and gunned these people down. That never happened. Everyone's seen my trial, so y'all know a fact.
Mr. Loyd, focus on what we're talking about. So you don't like the rulings that the court is making, or you don't like?
I don't like the ruling the court making and the arguments and the stuff that's being put forth on this side, because it's not. I'm upset right now. I can't even talk good right now, and I can't talk no more. I'm upset.
Okay. Anything else about representing yourself? Mr. Lenneman, would you or Mr. Marrero care to put anything on the record as to that? All right. Mr. Loyd, we've been down this road before. You asked to represent yourself. I granted your motion. You struggled. You then asked me to appoint Mr. Marrero as co-counsel. As I've repeatedly explained to you, you are not an attorney. You are not lead counsel. I did that. I appointed Mr. Marrero as co-counsel. You then told me that you could not represent yourself because of the restrictions that you have, because you are an inmate and you were unable to effectively represent yourself, and therefore asked me to reappoint Mr. Lenneman as your attorneys, and I did that. The case law is clear that while defendants have the right to represent themselves, they do not have the right to go back and forth. You can't decide that you want to represent yourself, then you don't want to represent yourself, then you want to have an attorney, then you don't want to have an attorney, then you want to have co-counsel. The court has observed and acknowledges the following, which is that, quite frankly, sir, you are an inmate. You were unable to effectively represent yourself the first time I granted it, and nothing has changed at all in your situation. The motion to proceed pro se is denied. You continue to have lawyers, and you continue to be allowed, as you have been throughout these proceedings, to actively participate in your defense. The court has given you the opportunity to speak when you've wanted to. I have observed, as has everyone in the courtroom, that your attorneys take direction from you. When you want something done, they stop and they do it. So the motion to represent yourself is denied.
I'm not.
We are here on Monday morning, Portland 23, for jury selection. Anything further from state?
Nothing, they can't wait till Monday.